So, welcome to the latest edition of Toms Barbers Podcast. Obviously, we're in a different venue and we're here with Jack. So, Jack's Lincoln United's social media manager. So, do you want to introduce yourself, Jack?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Jack Clucas, Lincoln United's social media manager. Delighted to be on the podcast. I've watched quite a few, so yeah, it should be good.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so before we're doing something different, obviously the Barbers is a stone throw from Lincoln United's home ground, what do we call it this day?
The Sunhat Villas and Resorts Stadium.
Or other people would call it Ashby Avenue.
Ashby Avenue, of course.
So how long you had this role at Lincoln United?
So, been in this role properly since December, but really got started in November, just getting to grips with things. Obviously following Zach Leader departing the club, who's now gone on to work for Grimsby Town in a full-time role. So it's a position that, you know, for myself and my partner in crime, Joe, to really work hard in and, yeah, boost your future career ambitions as well.
Brilliant. So I think obviously that's now, I think good place to start is let's look back at the younger Jack. So you was a barman here as well, I believe. So
yeah, I was here for quite a few years, pretty much as soon as I turned 18. I joined here. All my family have been coming in here for years, so yeah, it was a good opportunity for me. I know quite a lot of the locals, and obviously that's transcended quite well going into Lincoln United as well.
Brilliant. So obviously you've got roots, family's roots, so it makes it easier. I know I've got roots down Lincoln United. This is what makes this really enjoyable. So let's talk about your journalist career. So what's your education? Where have you been?
Yeah, so I started really at university with my journalism. I decided I wanted to go there to do sports journalism. It was a bit of a toss-up, as you know, as every 18-year-old has in their mind. They don't really know what they want to do, but I decided I would try with sports journalism, and that's something I went and did at Sheffield Hallam University. Before that, I'd of course made like a few pieces, a few articles, but nothing too serious, really here or there. And then obviously the degree, the sports journalism degree that I now have from Sheffield Hallam University, has allowed me to go and work for a couple of companies as a freelancer, producing articles on a range of things really. I've done tennis, darts, football, even did a bit of hockey once. So yeah, it's really anything, and I'm always looking to learn. Lincoln United has allowed me to develop my social media awareness as well, making sure I use the right hashtags and things like that. So it just, in the past 3 years, because I completed my course just last year, it's just sort of been a blend of things really, doing everything I can to just keep improving.
So at Sheffield, what kind of things did they allow you to do? What benefit was it to go to university than just try and learn it on your own?
Yeah, well, for me, I wanted guidance with it, because I thought if I can go to university, I'll also be able to do things by myself there. So I'll be able to gain experience in that sort of way. And that's what I did. The university had connections to Sheffield Wednesday. So we was in the press box at Sheffield Wednesday from time to time, Sheffield United as well. And all of the lecturers there are previous or current employees of corporations like the BBC, obviously, who employ quite a lot of talented journalists. So it was good for me to learn what really goes on inside a journalist's mind, how to format things correctly, what you are allowed and not allowed to say, more importantly, because that's quite a big thing. And yeah, obviously with it focusing on sport, that meant I could sort of focus more, because it's about things that I like and things that I care about, and that's always easy to focus on. So it gave me a platform, but like any university course really, I don't really think you get started until you've left.
A bit like driving, so you learn and then learn on your own. So what's your key sports that you like? Obviously I know football is going to be key, but is there any other sports that you follow? Yeah,
so for me, I have two main ones. It's football and darts. Really big into my darts, played it quite a lot, and obviously football with Lincoln United as well. So yeah, they're my two main ones, but like I've mentioned, I'm happy to, well, I have covered across multiple different sports, because a lot of the core principles of your writing and things like that remain the same. It's just changing the topics that you're talking about, and you know, the little individual aspects.
So talk us through a match day. What would be your duties? What would your day look like?
So on a match day, it's always quite a busy day. Wake up on a Saturday, probably around 9, try and get some breakfast in 'cause it's going to be a long day ahead. Head to the ground. Once you're at the ground, you've got things like the VO, which is what records all the games, and we have to send that into the league within 24 hours of the game finishing. You've then got match day graphics, like we always post. We always schedule a post at 9 a.m. every Saturday and every match day, just saying it's match day, get people excited, involved, checking the social media. Throughout the day, we'll do things like I'll go on the pitch and do a training video with like the players getting warm and things like that. You've then got interviews that we do after the game with a manager and then a player, of course, because they're sponsored as well, so we have to make sure we fulfill our obligations there. And there's loads of other things. We do live tweeting as well, so you'll be able to keep up with the game if you're on Twitter or anything like that. You've really just got to try and keep up to date with as many things as possible at the same time, which is difficult, but of course with Joe with me as well, it definitely helps out, and we just about managed to get it done week in, week out.
Oh, brilliant. Is there anything that you'd like to introduce to a match day that's currently not there?
Yeah, I would really like to introduce just getting more fan coverage and appreciating the fans, maybe getting interviews with the fans to talk about, you know, the atmosphere at the game, why they've come to the game, things like that, to really boost the just sort of engagement of the fans, because I feel like, as you'll know, this is a very family-run club, and it's a lot of families come here, enjoy their time. The players are all friendly as well, so yeah, I'd like to do more things for the fans. As well as that, I'd probably like to do a little bit more in terms of after the game and do more in-depth interviews, because sometimes, you know, you're on a bit of a time restraint and you can't really get all the answers that you want.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into a match day. Obviously, fan engagement's really, really important, and getting people to the ground early, I suppose, and keeping them after the ground, after the game, certainly after they had a positive result against Redcar.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot? Because obviously, one thing we talked about off air was like, you know, football clubs that you look at in the non-league that you're trying to replicate. Obviously, there's a lot of like ground hoppers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen quite a few videos on Link United. Do you get to meet any of them or reach out to people like that?
Yeah. So if they are at the ground, if they are coming to the ground or planning a visit, we always try and make time to speak to them, to understand what their journey is, what they're putting out. So if we could help with that in any way, or if they could help us in any way, it helps both of us grow. So that's great for both of us. We had Proper Football come down to the football club, I believe it was about a month ago now, and they're absolutely massive, got millions of followers across all social medias, so that was really good for them to come and write a piece on us and how well the club is run, and, you know, things like that. So that's really positive and really pleasant. Sometimes what ends up happening is that some of the content we're trying to push out is similar to what another organisation or person is trying to put out. So for example, if we have the BBC here, or if we have the Link, which is a University of Lincoln newspaper, sometimes they'll come down, and obviously we offer them to get interviews with the managers as well, just to help their pieces bring it to life a bit more. So we look to incorporate that, but obviously sometimes if you're really busy, you just have to try and do what you got to do.
So currently at the moment it's just the two of you that run the social media?
Yeah, so it's just me and Joe at the moment. We are looking for someone to come and help with the short form content, the TikTok and the YouTube Reels, that side of things, just because that helps us to grow our profile everywhere, because TikTok's more global than maybe a Facebook or an Instagram in terms of your reach. For us as well, it's we do take inspiration from other clubs on social media, because to be quite frankly honest, you'd be silly not to. You see these clubs that are doing excellently well. I think of like Brentford, Dorking, obviously non-league club, Walton and Hersham, another non-league club. They've all got fantastic reach for the level that they are, and in actual fact their reach allows them to bring in more revenue for the club, which, you know, our job as social media officers is not always just to post what we need to post, it's to post what can grow the club.
Yeah, well, I think the rise of hashtag as well really helped. Because obviously I see Link United, I always question what's the ambition, where's it going to go, what do they want to achieve. I suppose this is the thing now with Premier League getting so expensive and out of touch. You've seen a lot of non-league clubs grow. So obviously using social media is going to be key to that. Where do you think Lincoln United's limit are? What could they achieve? What would be a good goal for Lincoln United for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think for the season, for the rest of this season, survival is the goal, and I'm confident that we as a club can achieve that. The players are working so hard; they are very well connected. There's a great atmosphere in the changing room at the moment and between all the lads. I think in terms of the long run, I know the stadium is fit to go up another level if we were to go up, and that definitely could happen. The form we've been on since, of course, Dave Frecklinton coming as interim manager has been excellent. Really, we've shown that we're a side that is able to compete with the best of the best, and like we did with Redcar at the weekend, and even with players suspended, like we didn't have Sam Swin, who usually starts at centre back for us at the weekend. We didn't have Connor Brown, who's the guy who's our top goal scorer this season, been putting him in, but we perform well, even with setbacks, and that's something that has definitely improved since obviously the interim management of Frex and Darren Dye. So it's positive looking forward. I think maybe a promotion is on the cards, but obviously, like anything in football, some of the budgets in this league, from what I've heard, is quite frankly sickening. So, yeah.
Do you think having the likes of Alan Power in the team are helping for marketing?
Oh, 100%. It always helps to have players that have quite a lot of reach and that people know. More importantly, it brings people down to the ground, because in many ways, this is a good example. We're a two-club city. We've got Lincoln City and Lincoln United, and having Alan, who was at Lincoln City, means that the people know him. And obviously, if that gets them through the gate, they might only come through the gate once, but if they enjoy what they see, and they will have at the moment, then they're going to come back again. And the more people we can get coming back consistently is definitely a massive aim for the club, because we're trying to do so many things. We've got non-league day coming up soon, which is absolutely huge. We're going to be getting in contact with local schools and to get them to be mascots and draw pictures, things like that. So yeah, it's really, like I mentioned earlier, about driving that engagement and making sure we're hitting every area of the market that we can hit.
So exciting times for Lincoln United then coming up. So we've spoke a lot about Lincoln United. What about you? Because obviously we've seen your predecessor go off to work for Grimsby Town. I suppose I'm too sure that's a promotion or a relegation. I'm just smiling at the cameraman, who's a big Grimsby Town fan, so he'll think it was a promotion. I'll definitely say it's a relegation. So obviously you've seen that this can be a stepping stone. So what does the future look like for you? What's your goals and ambition?
I think the future for me, main ambition is I'd love to be a commentator and a presenter, that sort of things. There's a long way to go with that, but being at a club like this and more importantly having the access to sort of everything is really helpful. I'm doing the social media things as well, because nowadays, especially being a journalist, is not about being talented in writing or social media, it's about being talented in everything. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons and make sure that I can cover everything if required. And fingers crossed a role as a full-time journalist soon. I've done a lot of freelance things, but I think the next step for me is probably full-time work, and then build on that, hopefully work for some of the big corporations one day, like I mentioned, the BBC, ITV, things like that. Just really, but at the moment, it's getting my foot in the door and trying to make a name for myself.
So what's stopping you at the moment from commentating on a Lincoln United game or doing that kind of thing? Because obviously you film the game.
Yeah. So theoretically nothing, but with the amount of things that we have to put out, and with it being so cramped, it would make it fairly difficult. Saying that, it's not something that's impossible. I think when you mentioned earlier about things that I want to implement in the future, commentary is definitely one of them, because if we could do live commentary, I know Blythe Spartans did it when we went away to them, and some of our fans listen to that, so there's definitely a market for it and there's definitely a reach for it, and obviously it would benefit me as well, which ultimately, it's not a selfish thing, but if you're somewhere to, if you're like here, it's volunteer, and I love volunteering here because it's a great club, but ultimately it needs to meet my needs and the club's needs, and at the moment it is, and it should continue to be that way.
I think with anything, it's like a win-win, and obviously if you get to implement and try things, it's only going to benefit Lincoln United. I think people just want engagement. I know, like when I look, because obviously I go and watch Lincoln City, but I'll look on the Facebook feed and stuff like that. And I think the next thing is people do want that, like, want to watch the highlights. Like, I watch Lincoln, and I love nothing more on a Sunday watching the highlights. And you know, you have Sky and they don't have the commentary on it. Like, how good would that be where you could be watching Lincoln United highlights with a bit of commentary? And because I always think it's, at the end of the day, you've got loads of actors, and I call players the actors because they are. It's like you've got so many people, there's so many stories that you can tell at a non-league level. I think things like this is what a lot of the clubs are doing really well, aren't they? They're telling the story about their players, what they do, and
yeah, because of course, like you mentioned, at a non-league club, you know, none of these players are full-time professionals. They're not going to be. They have other jobs, they have other commitments, and it makes that even more special. If you travel midweek to, let's say, a Brighouse, obviously it didn't end as like we would have wanted, but if you travel to that game and there's fans coming down who have been at work during the day, it's not just the fans, it's the players as well. It takes a lot out of them, and it's a lot of commitment for obviously the fans, the players, staff, you know, to bring this sort of, it is more difficult than I'd like it to be to bring that story to life and promote people. For example, our goalkeeper Heath, he owns his own goalkeeping brand, so we try and promote that as much as possible, and he'll promote us. Yeah, you know, these players do a lot of different things, and as a club we try and promote that. A lot more of that will be coming in the off season when we have time to tell the stories of the players. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it shouldn't be understated how hard these players work to play for this football club. Some of them live absolutely miles away, and yet they still travel and still come down and still play, and you know, still put on performances. So it's really commendable, and everyone at the club, especially at this level. I mean, Redcar at the past weekend, most of their players will be full-time professionals. Not a lot of, well, none of these guys are. So, you know, the commitment levels are tremendous, and that's something the club prides itself on. Everyone works hard. Most people at the club are volunteers, and that's how the club's run. And there's no reason for it to stop.
I think this is the thing. Non-league have some great stories. Like I was hearing about Redcar that they didn't get paid all for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
They had problems with their local council, so we're kind of lucky. Like we're looking out on this pitch, and it's fantastic. And obviously the community around Lincoln United is really, really good. So kind of just start to wrap things up a little bit. Where would you recommend if someone wants to watch some local football? How easy is it to come watch Lincoln United?
Yeah, 100%. I'd recommend going to Lincoln United on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. All the same handle, just Lincoln United. We always make a post in the week about what the next game is. If it's at home, we even do an info pack, so you can see what the weather's going to be, whether you need to bring wellies or shorts, you know, that sort of thing. We will include the price of the tickets as well, so you know how much money you have to bring. You can pay card on the gate as well. I would also say that we do a match preview. Well, I write a match preview, so if you're intrigued on how the two sides meet up, what the form is in the last 5 games, any injury concerns, things like that, then yeah, for sure, definitely check out Lincoln United on social media and come and see us. You know, when you walk into the ground, I'm looking at it now. There's 2 black barriers, and then there's some black seating in there. That's where I'm sat. That's where Joe's sat. If you just come up and have a chat to us, we'll be happy to explain anything we can.
No, amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time and effort today. Really been a pleasure. Hopefully, if my podcast goes well, hopefully we can see you again and find out what you're doing, and maybe tag some commentary you're going to be doing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Absolute pleasure. Continue great work at Lincoln United, and thank you for today.
No, thank you for having me. Been an absolute pleasure.